Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I want to talk about Satan and what is Satan. A lot of a lot of the population in the world is coming from an Abrahamic religious background. Majority of our religions are either Islam, Christianity, or Judaism. Three of these religions are connected, intricately connected with each other. The basic practices are the same, the basic outlay of the world is the same, the metaphysics is the same. And when it comes to ethics and morality, there is this accepted idea of Satan and his minions. Now, in this context, in this 21st century, we have rejected this concept of Satan a being, as a being who is made of fire and who looks a certain way and who is trying to seduce us towards sin. We have rejected this scientifically and analytically. But there is a problem with such a rejection because you see, science did not exist in the era of Abraham, in the era of Jesus, in the era of Prophet Muhammad. And so they had a different way, different language of wisdom. They did not have a scientific language to convey a certain message. So they used the cultural or the traditional language that was prevalent at that time. And that language was this background that Abraham had laid, background of the world, and we all know, especially from if we are from the Abrahamic religion, then we all know that the background of these are the same. Our practices may be slightly different. We may disagree on certain points, but most of us agree that the the stories of Adam, the stories of the other prophets like Moses, we agree upon certain things. Certain books also are agreed upon. So this concept of Satan is there in all of these religions. From a scientific lens, this is absolutely wrong, and we cannot really prove the existence of Satan. The Eastern religions are completely different from these Abrahamic religious groups, especially on morality. They do not have such concepts of Satan, but they have concepts like lower desires. They have concepts like Mara in Buddhism, and of course the deities, which are not necessarily evil or to be rejected in Hinduism. So there is Eastern religion is completely different from the Abrahamic religions, but we have officially denounced this concept of Satan, and any person who is trained in scientific thought does not believe in Satan. But there is a certain truth in this concept of Satan because when we hear a voice that leads us towards a lower desire, say an act that is evil, when you are in front of a seducer, when you are in front of a possible way to commit a crime or a possible situation where you can take advantage and commit this immoral act, there is a voice inside each and every one of us. Some of us follow it, some of us don't. This voice is the voice of Satan. Forget about the different forms that Satan may have. Forget that it has a creation of fire, that it is created from fire. Forget that it has minions or it has these small children that he sends here and there. Now, of course, we can go deeper into the psychological aspects and prove somehow that what actually was meant by the prophets, by Satan and his minions is that these minions are like a repetitive thought process, a habitual thought process, and Satan is like that first step that you take towards an immoral act. You can consider that psychologically, and everyone experiences this firsthand. And the more deeper you follow this evil thought, this evil voice inside us, this psychological voice that says us to do an immoral act, to be seduced by something, by money, by responding in anger, by being egoistic, by disrespecting your parents. The more you follow this, the more deeper you go into this trap that the psychological Satan's voice is going to lead you towards. So, the form of Satan that we have been taught, especially the Abrahamic religions, people have been taught may be false, but there is certainly the voice of Satan inside each and every one of us. And the deeper you go into this voice, the more you fall into the realm of sins. The more immoral acts you commit, the more there is a possibility to do something that is much more immoral. And so you go into this spiral. You fall into this spiral and go on and on and on and on. A small smoke, a small cigarette smoke can lead you towards drug addictions, towards drug addictions, towards alcohol abuse, towards many other crimes. You may find that in your deep addictive state where you are craving this drug or this alcohol, you commit a few crimes here and there. You lie to your parents, you lie to your society, you make a few lies, and then you probably steal something, you probably rob something, someone, and so on. You fall into this circle of immorality. And so this concept of morality and this concept of karma certainly exists in many of our traditions, including the Eastern traditions. The Indian philosophy is different. It does not rely upon fear as the basis of giving moral education to people. It gives us instead a higher hope, a higher realization to be had in this world, a hope and a possibility that there is a way to achieve unlimited happiness, unlimited unlimited bliss in this life. And it gives us this hope of enlightenment, this hope of freedom, this hope of salvation, this hope of heaven. And then it says to renounce the lower desires, to move towards this hope. The Abrahamic religions certainly do not follow such a framework. They follow a fear-based framework. It is effective, but in the long term it certainly does have its psychological consequences. That is why a lot of people denounce such concepts of Satan or such concepts. Even religion is on a decline these days because of such concepts. which are scientifically not really provable. But you see, in the realm of psychology, in the realm of in the in the inner space, there is a possibility to explain the wisdom of that is embedded in these words of the prophets and of the saints that have come through these Abrahamic religions. So, looking for truth in these religions is hard, but there is certainly a way, a wisdom. Their language was different, their culture was different, their situations were different, and they did not really have this framework of knowledge. They did not have good communication of information among each other. All wisdom was the word-based wisdom that people talked about. And so truth is hidden in these myths, in these stories of Adam and Eve, in these stories of the prophets and small mythological stories. But the moral behind these stories is the same. So, looking and filtering the truth in the Abrahamic religion is the job of a comparative religion practitioner who tries to get to the bottom of the truth, to understand what is really right and what is really wrong.